Welcome to Ryan's Family Amusements in Millis. We have a doubleheader here. We have on the left Dan Castle and John Ahearn in a D match, and in a B match we have AJ Stockton and James Hughes. They're on your right. So everyone shake your hands and we'll be off to the races here on Kentucky Derby Saturday. John and James are the home bowlers. John has elected to go first. James will go second. Actually, all the bowlers bowl out of here anyway, so everyone's very familiar with the lanes here in Millis. AJ is going to start us off. Playoff implications all over the place here today. And there goes John, leaving the four horsemen. AJ off to the right. And John does the same off to the right. AJ looking for a big out ball, and well, takes 7 after that. Only just beginning, so I've 49 boxes to go, and John takes an 8. As you probably know, 2 points apiece are at stake in each of the 5 strings will bowl, with 4 points total. AJ and James are locked in the playoff hunt here. AJ with a record of 104 and 120. James 113 and 125, so they're basically tied. Well, technically, I think James a little bit ahead. It's John off to the left. AJ with a spare leave, a tricky piece of wood there.
With a game, you have a game in hand. I have a game. So this is the second to last for you?
AJ tried to
the last few second to last for you.
Catch the right side of the pin, but misses it to the right.
And it's all about the wild card.
John, it's a great bid there on that split.
Just be mindful of the table. They're going to wobble like crazy.
Oh, that's right.
AJ and James are chasing Phil Clough, who's in the 9th spot. Phil's season is done with 123 wins. Kyle Hetty, 8th spot, has 113 wins with 2 matches left, and Fernando Grishana also 113 wins, 3 matches left. So to have a shot, James and AJ need to hopscotch over Phil and get as many points as possible, and then see what happens with Kyle and Fernando. There's AJ. Got some win up front that will help, you think?
Undefeated season was finally curtailed.
And John gets half the pins. Use the parallel pins in the middle. Plus the 8 drop. It's AJ. Gets the 1 on the right. Probably threw it just a tad too far to the right. John with a good ball. Just too full, actually.
Micah connects.
And AJ connects with the 10 for 26 through 3.
Amen.
And John throws that to the right. That's a 7 box. And 25 through 3 for John. John and Dan Castle are in the D South Division here. Just to update you on the standings for them. Dan's going to try to play spoiler today. John is in 9th spot in the total playoff picture. Still has a shot at division because he does have a match against Matt Taylor. Matt 125 and 99, John 103 and 107. So even though he's technically behind, needs 22 more wins, does have an extra match in hand. So whatever he gets, obviously can decrease that deficit, and still has a match against Matt with 14 points at stake in that one. John right there, and again, same ball he threw before.
And
AJ, nothing. No luck there. AJ laughs it off. That will be an 8 box for AJ,
Waters,
34. And
both of
John
these
looks to the heavens.
See if you can
That's a
flip it
5 box for 30 through 4. So 5th and final box before James and Dan will
Bothers Micah now.
take over the lanes. AJ leaves the Caleri right-hand side.
Oh, there it is.
John does go at the head pin, and is he going to get a strike out of it?
On the 1-3 pocket.
It's a wiggling 6 pin, I believe. Not going to fall, at least on the first ball. AJ just off to the right.
Before he goes, and
Next best
all the wood for a
best
spinner.
leave, other than picking that up, is at least just 31. In this case, the hit pin, and John right on the stripe. Spare he really needed. So he'll be at 40 on a ball through 5. AJ with a 9, 43 through 5. AJ's open, and
a couple get away from him.
up steps James Humes on the right. He'll be rolling first.
13, 14.
And Dan Castle.
Ball drives in 34 miles.
Dan, of course, does a lot of commentating here on the ACST Facebook page.
Speeds 33.7.
And James having the 5 and 7.
Off on the 4 horses.
That's going to be tough. Dan off to the right. Well, that's the Millis 8 have gone, leaving just the 1 and 2. James going to try to slice it over.
With 3 on the field.
Actually, with his ball, he actually would have a better chance with his right to left ball. That was a very difficult lead. Dan trying to go right at it, but he punches through on the wood without hitting the head pin. James with the 9 to start in his first box.
Low 40s after 2 for Micah.
And Dan matches that as well.
This is not head to head. Micah back on it. That's where he started things with an 8 drop to a 2-pinner.
Basically a Lollapalooza or bowling palooza here at Ryan's this morning. You may see off to the side another match that's being recorded here.
And
Got
Waters follows
Micah
suit,
Imparato,
slightly different
Duncan McDougall,
leads.
Chris Parkinson, Justin Waters, and even further down the line, Jeremy Seaholm. Has a match going on there
Follows suit. They're down. Okay.
as well.
Waters at 51 in the ball. 2 in the ball. Watch Jeremy. ACST's average is a 130.
So James started with the 9, and a pair of 9, excuse me. Dan with the 9 and a 10.
We get right back on track. Good, Phil.
James steps up for box number 3.
Brushed over a little too hard on that thing. Thin. It's really it's like a bundle of 5 with hay bale.
Jeremy Seaholm and Sean Taylor, by the way, further down. But anyway, back to our matches right here. Spare opportunities. Not easy ones, but definitely doable. And James throws that in the perfect spot, nails it for his first mark of the match. Dan was off to the right, got the spinorama on the wood. Matching spares for these guys. Of course, they're not bowling each other. AJ and James bowling.
String 1 of 5 at ACST format.
Bunch on his James
14
Phil
points
ball.
on
He
the
gets the
line.
2 and 2 split.
Each of the 5 strings plus total pin.
And Dan with 8. Without hitting the hit
That
pin.
one got away.
Spare
On that
opportunity
one,
for
a
him.
33 fill.
This one's going to be a toughie here for James.
Right to left ball and you loop it right.
Plucks the 2 off on the left. Let's see what happens with Dan. He gets him. Hits the head pin, drives the wood right through to the 7. 2 in a row for Dan.
There.
James right at it. The wood takes the 6. The ball takes the 10. James at 44 through 4. Dan with his 2 consecutive marks at 47 and the ball. 4. We go to the 5th.
Duggan, one back.
James right back in on it.
Box to box.
Had a 2-2 last time. He's got the 1-1 this time. And Dan, second consecutive 8-pin lead, 8-pin drop, and a very nice spare lead,
Five.
spare opportunity. Could probably make this one.
Parkinson fills with
It's
8.
hitting either wood.
Good action opposite.
Let's see. Sure does. 3 in a row.
Wood on both sides of the one. Robert
And here comes James.
Stockton converts.
Right on for his 10 box.
Parkinson just
54. 54 through 5.
pro averages 4 marks.
AJ at 43.
So getting your 2 as your quota.
Up steps John Ahearn. He did get at least a spare in the 5th, but he's down
The Phils.
25 pins already here as Dan has come out of the gates
Carrying
roaring.
averages, on Friday Night Pro League at 115.
It's a big fill ball for John.
Got him right in that.
And gets in a good mix. He'll take 7, but
7.5.
all right, get a chance. AJ will leave the check mark on the right-hand side.
All right, here's another 9 drop.
And John just off to the right takes out 1.
Okay, McDougal filled with 7.
And AJ just off to the right
His
gets
2
2.
spares. All
So both bowlers open here in the 6th. John, good ball for a 10, and AJ does that as well. So a pair of 10s for each of our bowlers.
However, Micah is sitting on a spare.
Dan was commenting that he's had a little bit of struggle lately, but not bowling so hot.
Bloody mighty. That's a 6-7.
John heard that and saw
Parkinson's fill.
Dan with 3 consecutive marks. He's wondering what the heck's going on here.
11 pin lead. Box to box.
John needs a couple of marks here at this, not the easiest of opportunities, but is makeable. AJ's will be makeable as well. John throws it left.
All 4 of the bowlers had 2 spares. Difference.
AJ, is that 10 pin? It's going to go. It does. It was a struggle, but it did go eventually.
Yeah.
John with an out ball. He'll take a 8 out of that.
That means Waters will have to fill with 10 to stay even.
So John's at 65 through 7.
Duncan McDougal
AJ through the first 5 completed boxes. Donald was down
just needs 3
11.
to draw
So
even.
that was a really big spare. It needs a big fill here.
Big difference there. He had a couple of 8s and a 9.
And just 3. Disappointing, but the head pin is still standing, so that means we got a spare leave.
A little bit lighter on the fill. Like a
John takes 2 out. Let's see what AJ can do here.
5, 7, 8, 10.
That's a good ball. All but 1.
Micah takes 3-pin lead. 58 to 55 at the half. And Waters trails by.
It's another 8. 2 8s.
Oh, what a fantastic!
For John.
Oh, using the piece.
We hear a big
piece
scream
out in front
coming
of
from the
10.
left. Justin Waters makes a
Ball
beautiful shot.
Connected with the 10.
AJ with the 10.
Left across, taking the 5.
So John 73 through 8 really needs 2 marks here to have a chance here in this string.
That's a great bend.
And all right, he's the 4 horseman right side plus the 9. AJ. 3-pin has a 3-pinner.
Home bowler has a choice of going first or second.
John just punches through what would have been the half Worcester. And AJ off to the left.
Okay, Waters. AJ Stockton next door to get out. Now,
And there's John.
missing the head pin.
Well,
Quite a few.
not sure he was aiming that way, but a 9 is a 9. So, and an 8 for AJ. So final box for each bowler here.
3 out of 6 so far.
They're looking to go 11 here. Should be an 11 frame or a fill ball. Got an 82. Just off the head pin.
Just one spin for water.
AJ going to be on the head pin. Punches through. 2 and 1. And that wood just twisted the wrong way, but at least it's there. So we'll give AJ a run at it. John's got some wood behind it. Could come into play, but does not hit the object. Let's see what AJ can do.
Micah, first part has
Splits it perfectly. The wood comes across,
head pins.
and it just was not angled properly. It had twisted at the
Justin
last
will take
second.
10 in the 7th. Justin now 11 at 81.
And John
8 open.
with an 8 for a 91st game. Whoop. I don't know what happened there. And AJ with a 9 for 94. And John actually got an extra pin out of that late, so 91 for John. So each of the bowlers stepping up right now have a pretty darn good chance at picking up the first 2 points available. Dan's working on a spare here in the as he starts his 6th.
Oh, there's one over there for you.
So 65 plus. He's had 2 8-pin drops, making
Hey,
3
beautiful
8-pin
pickup
fills
on
in a row. James
2 and 1.
not on a spare, and
1, 2, and
before he left the 5 and 7, now he leaves the old Woolworth 5 and 10. Dan has some tough wood, not angled perfectly, but maybe can get a break off the wall. Does, but only for 1 out of the 2 pins.
3 for 8.
And James just misses on the right-hand side. Try to pick up one of those.
Only 7 open.
Yeah. Dan pins for a 10. That gives him 83. And James with a 9. 63 through 6.
There's one. Good head pin. 9, 10.
And up steps Dan here in the 7th. Boy, he's been throwing a great first ball.
Not so much that he can.
James is consistent as always on the right-hand side of the head pin.
Micah takes 5 on his Phillies at 93.
Dan looking this one over. Not sure if
Try to sweep
that
it.
wood would cover those 2 pins on the left.
Swept it.
He's going to go to the left, try to go that way, but that's a -2.
Micah didn't miss by much.
And James gave it a good run.
That 5.
Good try.
It was there. The ricochet worked. But
And Dan's 3rd ball, that will be a 7 box. So that's 90 for Dan. Just needs 2 pins and 3 boxes to take game 1.
Micah
James with a 9, 72. So just needs 19 and 3 to take the first string and 2 points. Critical match for both of those bowlers. As they're very close in the standings to each other.
another fine head pin. Another split.
Dan again with the head pin.
Die.
Not sure that would
Micah finds
cover it.
finds the
Let's
bundle
take a
of
look.
5 again. He's good spot. Right on the
Maybe
money.
left-hand side of the red line. He's
Variation.
going to try to
Ball speed. Maybe
a little bit too far to the right.
on the tool.
Again, this will be an interesting one for James. We'll see what happens.
Last pitch.
Nope.
32.3.
So again, leaves this time in his 3rd ball has the 5 and 7. He's already
Sends
had
it
that
over,
already
was it?
today.
He's found his spot. Okay. Going
And
3 for the first 85.
9 for
It's the last
James.
2 head pins.
So Dan has officially taken the first string. He's at 98.
It's a once
2
a month
boxes
kind
to
of
go.
shot. You'll see.
He'll try to
5 and 10.
increase his total match lead.
Open. Came in
James at
3.
81.
There's 2 of them. And we'll have 112. 5
And Dan just off the head pin. And James, same place.
Waters at 107 plus the 12. last 3 head pins.
Dan Case Peterson's a great try. He's got a good game going.
1 through 10.
James hits it where you think you'd need to hit it, and everything goes with the 10.
Head pin
$9 for Dan. That gives him 107. That's 1 to play.
5-10 conversion as well as the
And
10.
James with the 10. 91, so he just needs 4 pins to take the first string.
4 balls.
Dan 107 in the box to go.
Partisan now looking good.
Hey, you got the back one out of there at least.
James 3 spares all in a row here in the first string. James has 1 spare, 1 mark. None of our bowlers have gotten a strike quite yet. I'm sure we'll see several of those before the day is out.
It's not going to the 80.
And Dan off to the left.
White half like that.
James has taken the first game, picks up an extra pin there.
It's too bad.
All important for total.
That's just called a 10.
And
That's called a 10.
Dan with an 8. That will be a 115. James takes care of the remaining 2, goes into triple digits with a 101. So, 1 string down.
Great opportunity here.
4 to go here in
All
Millis
around. 3 pin.
on May the 4th. May the force be with all of our bowlers here today.
No need for the wood there.
10 ACST bowlers
79 and a ball.
in the house.
And hey, big, beautiful pickup on the 410.
As we're ready to start game
Duncan
2.
who had a 55 half, needs a 58 here. Starts with a 10. He's sitting at 5 over.
And AJ off to the right.
Other 10s or a couple of marks. Mark
John off to the left.
makes up some of the ground, but he's still going to need another mark. He's 13 over.
Nice
He
job
should
on
get
the
to
eagle.
17 over to beat Waters is 116. Duncan will get 8 in that fill. Good mixing
And
ball.
AJ going to try to pick off the 7, not to be, a 9 box to start. John has 1 pin
Perfect
left
ball gets 4.
with the piece of wood.
The head pin gets
Wow.
8 on both on non-fills. So
Always good to get those for your confidence. And every pin is critical, as we know in Candlepin bowling.
it's going to actually be a 10.
Never know when
There
they're
it is.
missing.
Late falling pin for
Missing a single pin will come back to haunt you.
Chris. +1.
Comes AJ, that's a really good ball. 8-pin
So,
drop, leaving a
Parkinson.
2-pinner.
at 93. 13 over. Needs to get
John off to the left. Will have to work for his spare.
That's a make, really makeable. Drop it. Woo! So 1 through 6.
And
9 in the back.
AJ cannot believe that
For his part.
didn't
Hang in there, hang in there.
cover the 6-pin. John with the spare. That was impressive. So
Dan Parkinson just
AJ's looked more likely to be the one to go.
get a mark in the 10.
Punch through. John got his.
Oh,
You never know in Candlepin
I
bowling.
don't know what to do with the
Looking
right, those right triangles. You have to stand into the corner.
And AJ with 9. Was that a 9? It was a 10. Got blocked out there.
102.
By the way,
All right.
I'm Dave Peterson, in case you're wondering who's behind the mic.
Needs a mark. Both
Thanks for
forwards down.
tuning in and watching this
Duncan's
match.
down 11. Parkinson's down 14. Final box. On the head
AJ hits the right side of the head pin.
Check mark. Little pin.
He's hoping for a better lead than that. There's the check mark on the left. John filling his spare. Dials in on the head pin, and that wood is going right into the channel.
And no, Parkinson pounds it through. And Waters going to win string 1.
AJ's ball faded just a little to the left. John's going to go in the channel. No pins. At least he got a 7 fill though on the spare, so that's a good start. AJ with the 10, 29 through 3.
Micah likewise going to win by 3, so really close.
And John does about all he can do with that one, picking up the 2 on the right-hand side.
112 to 109. Micah.
It's off to a good start though, 36 through 3. As Matt Taylor goes down and is going to retrieve a ball that's missing for AJ. So a short break in the action. As we scan some of the other scores here, we see Justin's match and Chris just finishing. I won't give away the scores there. And Micah and Duncan as well. Further down the line, Jeremy Seaholm and Sean Taylor. But anyway, the ball has been retrieved. Back to business here for AJ. Take that lead. That's not too bad. AJ says, give me something.
Imparato on the front.
That's a good ball. Yeah. AJ didn't need to be given anything on that one. That was earned. And John, oh, that was earned too, but it didn't go.
Drop chop and a 9 for Micah.
Those 4 horsemen, that last pin, just can't count on that going, even if you think you hit it perfectly.
Back on the next pin.
John does take care of business for a 10, so 46 for him. He's off to a good start. AJ, 37 in a ball here. Haven't completed. This will finish the 4th box, but this is the 5th box starting.
Here's the one that may have cost Duncan.
Just 3.
His water's dry.
So 40 through 4 officially. And John hits the head pin, and
This is the 3-9-10.
yeah, he says finally threw a good ball, and that is an ugly lead. There is some wood that could roll around.
I think he hit it
Just missed
super thin or
down the rabbit hole for AJ.
drive it into the wall and maybe get the 9 pin.
Let's see what John can do with this one.
Lighter super
He hits a
close.
corner, which was a smart play there. Trying to move things around. AJ looking for a really good out ball here. That looks to be it. Oh, wow. Tremendous out. Clutch ball. That is like getting a spare in the end. That's a 9 box. AJ finishing up the first 5 at 49. And a 9 for John as well. So he's at 55 through 5. Much better start than last time around.
Couple games in hand.
And upstairs,
Bill, that's 5.
come James and Dan, each of them having won the first game and 2 points. As James, you cannot throw a better first ball than that. And all we get is the 7-10 split. Now, there is a piece of wood that will stay on the deck. Dan threw a good ball as well, leaving the check mark. Let's see if James can move that wood across with his right to left ball. Oh my goodness, what a shot! First the ball blew right by it. I thought that was going to be a disappointing ending, seeing the ball roll across. Next thing you know, the pin trips it up. Dan gave his check mark a good try too, hit the object. James on the fill ball here. Good way to start. Always disappointing to make a great spare and end up getting the half Worcester. So, but still 12. 12 was better than 10, right? James looking on the outside. Keeps that a heck of a try, just like AJ tried on it earlier. 3-1.
Douglas
Picks one off on the side.
solid.
James hoping for 2, maybe an extra one.
Couldn't deal with the new
Well,
pins.
not the 2 he was planning, but 2 it is, so that's a 9
Micah, by
box.
the way, made his spare.
21 through 2. And for Dan, hey, he gave it sliced it across.
He only threw a 5.
Sliced it too much, actually. 9 for him, so 19 through 2.
Himself ready for Matthews here at Ryan.
Remember, James is chasing AJ's 49 here in the first half. Dan will need at least a mark to catch up to John, at least for the first 5.
8 on the fill for Micah. And
Pins to reset for Dan,
At full.
which they are doing right
3
now.
of 5 for Justin.
They can really like fancy tall.
So we're back at it here in the third frame.
Micah only has 2. But he connects on the 1.
And
Got
James,
the pin to do
a
the
little
work.
light on the head pin.
A little bit
Gets 5 out of the 10. Dan a little more full, a lot more
Water
full.
sends it over
Almost
the
gets a
microphone.
strike.
Almost
9 pin drop for Dan.
second highlight.
Let's see what happens here with James. This is an interesting one. Oh, he hits the triangle, moves it across, almost makes it.
3 for Water, 1
Dan.
spared. Micah collects 2.
Yeah, the wood was too far off to the right, but so that didn't help him. James with the 10. That would have been just as pretty as his previous spare. And Dan hits the single as well. So a pair of 10s on 2 bowlers.
Duncan.
James has had some entertaining boxes here for us in the second string. With beautiful 7-10 spare and almost making that last one. This one will be a little more conventional. And the same for Dan, although his would,
If it goes in
let's
between
see
like
if it'll
that,
cover the final pin there. That would be the 7.
Same could be tough market.
James, right on target.
Do some work there.
Dan's wood slightly angled. That might still take it. It doesn't. A little too far to the right.
Show me.
Goes for his
Wow.
9. Yeah. They have a realistic chance of that.
Dan's
Chop.
only left
Chop.
1 pin up here through the first 3.
Just
And
3 over.
Now he's left 2. So that's a 9, so 38.
Goes 400 on the first
Would love to have a mark.
4 Alright. Couple of 4 horses.
And James on his fill. That's 7.
Outpost.
Dan again on the head pin.
And the Caleri for
Let's see what we got here. James ball could be in his normal spot. and we'll take it.
Parkinson makes it go. The 10 was the last.
Oh, he
ball.
went on the
The
outside,
head
didn't cover the 10.
flew off the
Dan.
left wall, took out the 7 and came all the way across.
Little too far to the left.
Spare for Parkinson.
That was a tough one anyway.
All right, find that center.
James pins well as he always does. Completes his first 5 with a 10 box and 58 and a 9-pin lead over AJ. Dan with the 7-45. So John will lead by 10 after the first 5. For John, he definitely is in his match. Well, needs every point he can possibly get for his chances at wild card, outside chance at the division.
Tough little split. And
James and AJ both battling for playoff spots too. So
the third.
2 points, every 2 points critical. John hits the head pin,
Ducking lost
and goodness gracious, that it's not what he was looking for. Although that piece of wood could help, should help. Whether we'll get all 5 if he hits it in the right spot, we'll see. AJ with a 7-pin drop off his head pin. John just a little bit too far to the left. Let's see
right?
which way AJ goes. I think we want to go directly at the head pin.
Duncan with the first strike
Right on
on
to the
that.
right. That is the way to do it.
All these guys capable of throwing 8 or 9 strikes.
John gets 2. 63 through 6. AJ at 59 on the ball.
That was a 10.
Well, John clears a piece of wood in the channel.
Waters could use a mark here. He got one. Strike for Parkinson. 8 on the first ball for Dr. McDougal in his fill. So our first
Take a look at some of the statistics here for our bowlers.
bowlers.
Breaking the action.
Wood, it's just a tease. Not right now.
Here's John. Great first ball. That should take it.
Just with the
It does. First strike of the match.
dash it off the wall. Spin it like a helicopter. Hope it takes
AJ
out
off
the
to
pin.
the right.
Works sometimes. That will be a
That's-
8 fill and an 8 box and a 51. Duncan, 1 mark, 8 in the bonus, and 7 standing.
That's a great spare for AJ. Our scoreboard had a 3 fill
Micah
for AJ, but
112 to
that was only a
109.
2 fill. But a huge spare off that lead. AJ's had several, as I recall, 3 fills already. So looking to connect with a big first ball. Of course, John just had a strike. He's looking for a double. Oh, a couple inches away there because that wood was moving around. AJ, not going to be happy with that. Another 3.
Just
Still
confirming the
13,
scores from the
12
first
and
inning.
13.
Waters 116.
Still better than 8, 9, or 10. John with the spare opportunity off to the right, but it is a 9 fill on his strike, which puts him at 82 through 7.
Aim.
Right, AJ's second ball is working. Is that crazy? Is this Candlepin bowling in a nutshell or what? So AJ's going to have another chance for another fill. That's 3 marks in a row in 4 and 5 boxes. Fills of 3, 2, and 3. This could be a monster string. Still a good string.
60 first half, 5. That's what Michael did. And
There's John. Great first ball. Oh, man. There we go for AJ. That is the way to fill it. 4 marks in a row.
68, 8 over. And Michael was 2 marks. Duncan, 1 mark.
And AJ's first strike. John. This time he connects. Bowlers have picked it up a notch here.
Swings, bounces that one.
So John at 101 in a ball as he starts his 10th.
4 of 7 in this string. He was 5 of 10 in string 1.
And off that lead, he'll happily take 6. AJ on a strike, looking for 2. Just off, but not bad. 7. Looking for 5 marks in a row to
And Waters right on it again.
finish this string. John had an opportunity to make it something. Oh, he almost trips the head pin for a backdoor spare. Not going to happen. AJ off to the left. That'll be a 7 fill on the strike. 111 through 9.
Micah with his
AJ and John throw really good games. Put the pressure on their opponents today. John connecting with the single. Let's see if that goes for AJ. That would be fitting to go.
wood in the channel.
Oh, would have been nice. So John finishes with a 117, AJ with a 120. So both bowlers, hot as pistols.
Hit the DW button.
That was 1 for John. Got 1, 2 spares, and a strike. Power of good fills. 7 on a spare, 6 on a spare, 9 on a strike.
Open in the 7th. Back on the head pin, strike, his first strike. 2 strikes now from 3 of the bowler. How about Micah? Yep. How about about a 4-1 split?
And James off to the right. Uncharacteristic, but does happen from time to time. Taking a note of the spares and strikes here.
Finds it.
James
Can't cut the
this time
diamond
off to
or
the left.
send one across, but it was a beautiful ball. It was right where you'd want it. For a lefty, left to right ball.
Dan looking for a good out ball.
Hit the front of the
No luck there as the ball goes goes to the right by all the pins. And an 8 box for James. So Dan 52 through 6, chasing 117.
And almost.
Gonna need 65 and 4 to tie. So that's at least 2 big marks.
For 20 bucks.
James
And a spare in the ninth.
needs 54 and 4 to tie. If that was a strike, that would have been a good opportunity, but he's left with a single pin with a roadblock in front of it.
107 and a ball in the ninth. Micah tries to get him dance.
And James hits it, but that was a tough one. Tough one to deal with.
2 splits in a row, 3 of 4 in the head kick.
And Dan off to the right for 7.
Danny.
All right, both bowlers step up in the 8th here.
Waters back
Dan at
to the
59
head
through
kick,
7,
of 10.
trailing by 23 pins in the string. That's a nice opportunity for a spare there. James off to the right,
That was
punches
a
through.
Woolworth special that got Kingpin cleared out.
He's at 76
Got 4
through
or
7.
5 pieces of wood that may or may not.
Big one for Dan,
Waters
and he's right on it.
across. And 124, epic ball.
James, great spare. He's had some pretty ones today.
His average on the season, 130.6. So
Dan pulls it to the left, but gets a heck of a break.
he pulls out of Millis.
That's 6 on his fill. 75 James, and he's right in the pocket. He's making a run for the string. Needed a big finish.
All right, Waters at 132.
And Dan Pretty hit it right where you needed to hit it.
And hit 7 extra. Micah fills with 7, and he'll have a 117.
here,
So like with that
85
both
and a ball.
beat their average. Waters plus 2. Micah
Looks like
at 117.
John's in good shape here to take the first game. Dan off the head pin again.
9, 3, 2.
Gets a nice lead, 92. James on his strike. Big 8-pin drop, and with
for a
that spare
double.
and strike.
Good action.
It's a
on
big finish there.
crossover onto the
James, there's Dan off to the left. John will earn his first 2, and James for another mark. He gets it.
5-step approach, and he buried it. Spare on
So
63.
James will take, as he's already taken the second game. Big finish.
Micah, who had a 51.
Come back at it, kiddo.
Dan finishes with a 101.
Registers
James working at 126 and a ball.
7.
Dan had 2 spares. James,
3 spares.
right, what a finish. Spare, strike, spare to end it.
Strike, spare, combo, platter. All right, just 4 on that spare.
So 2 strings down, 3 to go.
The head box is box, but we're only
And 101. Get all the final scores in here. Try to check the marks. AJ with 1, 2, 3, 4 spares and a strike.
big hole there.
James.
Knocking out through the first ball.
Just give me a jingle when it's my turn.
Well, we're underway.
Parkinson. Box to box, which
Go.
was 86 to 77 lead, but facing a box with
James has taken the first 2 games here, 4 critical points in his column. Dan and John have split the first 2 games. $10 for AJ.
Duncan
Get the king. Come on.
found it, and the king goes late.
You got it.
Oh, piece from the right
And a 9
side.
for John.
And one's coming across. Speaking of that, Parkinson.
So right now, Dan still retains a lead in overall pins going into this game, going into the third game. 216 to 208. So he's split the first 2. Dan leads by 8.
Duncan's strike wins his match. First going to be 2 big spares.
Single pin here for AJ.
Or marks with reasonable fills. Going to get 37. Very big thing.
Boom.
John for his spare.
Next to his high.
Got the post off to the left.
Duncan likewise going to need 1 or 2 thirds.
So that'll be a 9 for AJ.
Sure
See
would
what
help
John can do with the 4 horsemen.
Well, I like the wood.
And there'll be a 7.
The V.
So both bowlers have cooled off just a bit.
The V goes and the 5 stands. Ouch. Yeah. It was
AJ back at it for the third box here in the third string.
part of that wood.
James leads 236, 214. 22 pin difference in that
All right.
total score.
105. Parkinson and
And John, little full in the head pin.
good news for Duncan is he can
AJ
get
with the-
tie with a
The
20.
post. 4 horsemen in the 10.
Right?
Oh, slices the head pin across to pick up the 10. And once again, the 4th
Oh,
pin
got
of the
it.
4 horsemen is still standing.
Justin Waters will win string 2.
John slices it across, almost makes that. Was a great shot though. 9 for AJ. 28. John has the same pin that AJ has.
Highest average in age is 122.
Tough one for the Southpaws. And a 9 for John. 25 to 3.
Imparato? Is that your clincher, Micah? That number was 4, and he's just 3 of them.
Me in. Thank you. Appreciate it. I certainly wasn't getting there on my own.
4th box here for AJ as John activates the equipment here on lane 21. AJ off the head pin, but that's an 8-pin drop.
Now has 130,
Definitely a chance with an object pin hit.
30, and 98.
John with the head pin looking for his 2nd strike, and he gets it. Wasn't quite sure if that wood would make it over, but it does. AJ, oh, slices it across. Look at that. Went in front of the pin, swiveled around it, and it's still going to hit it. And it's wiggling, and it's not going to go.
String 2 underway. Just
We thought the 3rd time might be a charm there, with the wood pushing it after
don't let it drop. 2 or 3
missing it on
times
the
you see
first,
little-
missing it on the swivel. And
little wild one.
AJ connects for the 10. As we come to the halfway point for these bowlers. Boom. 2-1 split. There is some wood. That's not, well,
Very good rescue ball.
John a strike fill. There's two pieces there, so there's some stuff that can be moved around. Ordinarily, this
Micah.
piece of wood in the middle, the way it's angled, which it is an angle, really make it extra tough. He was going to the left. Gave that a great try. The move, didn't move across. John trying to play a safety ball there on a strike. Just connects for one. AJ with the 9, open through 5. 47, not a bad score considering no marks.
In the heart of the head pin. Spreads the eagle.
And John with his final ball. That's the one he was hoping to throw earlier, or in the second ball. Gets it on the 3rd. So John with the strike. But with only a 3 fill, he also has 47 through 5.
That's the 7, 8, 10.
So Dan and James are going to step up with opportunities to, with the marker too, to
See, Micah. He's on his way.
have a lead,
to,
a decent lead as
throw
well.
6. 3 objects, 6 pins. Chip out the 3 pins. Not a complicated necessarily.
Here we go with James out to the right,
Good,
leaving
good work on
almost a full horseman,
10.
and
7
Dan
out of reach.
the same half Worcester John just had. Let's see if he can do any better. James
Here, Micah,
here
with one
at
miss,
it.
it does more work
Just off to the left.
than his head. That one hit the,
Damn,
hit the
good
woodman
ball.
channel, but it was off.
All right,
So 18, 15.
and
Yeah,
nicely done for a 10 for James. Dan going to try to get 1 or 2 out of these. And 1 it is.
A moment ago, clinched the play. Close win. Like a 112, 109, and 117, 106.
And James
The tight one in the
leaving the
first.
4 horsemen to the left.
That's enough at the
Dan
string.
been hunting the head pin today.
So 132, 115. Victory over Chris Parkinson. Maybe a 10 for Micah.
James gives that a run. Dan's going to give his a run too. Oh, goodness. Sliced right in front of it.
23. ACST champion.
James with a 9.
A lot of the drama.
And 10 for
Top of the 8ers in the South.
So James averaging 108 so far this year.
Everyone sees in the North. But, down South, there's a good rivalry here. Justin Waters, Josh Daly, the former North Pole, James South.
Actually,
Some
double
would say
check
it's
that.
the bowl in Millis, and some would say it's the bowl in Justin. In his match earlier this season on these same 2 lanes, Josh Taylor threw a 480 for his first 3, setting the
I believe that's incorrect information.
Oh, no, it didn't go.
Let's see.
Micah.
Hoping for the spare there, not to be.
Didn't go.
Let's see what Dan can do.
Daly threw a 480 on his way to a 784. Setting both the 3 and 5.
And 9 box for James.
When Millis passed his house. Another Paris.
Let's see what Dan can do here.
So
That will be an 8.
open bowl run.
So looking for the first marks here for any of our bowlers for spares. John had the strike, but Dan and AJ, Dan and James looking for the first marks.
How about a 9 drop down?
Let's see what we can do here in the 4th. Dan right there. Boy, that looked like a strike ball. Gets a 9-pin drop.
And how about a 9 drop down to the 3 pin? Wood almost perfectly covered. It's got a little spike of that piece out in front of it. Waters.
Dan just off to the right. James is averaging
Micah
111.4 to be exact.
Kicks the
It's funny
edge.
because all 4 bowlers in his
That one?
division are
45
averaging exactly
Plays
111,
the wood
including AJ. It's a
wisely, I think.
111.8.
The Ball still could have covered it if it jumped, but
Kyle Hetty 111.13, Micah 111.12. So talk about
like
competitive.
5 pins up.
That
Just
is,
they both sit down.
can't get any more competitive than that. Where they're all
9
within,
points there.
all within a pin.
Both of them.
All right, fifth box for James.
Home Justin.
Leaves a 2-pinner, and for Dan off to the Brooklyn side, 2 and 1 and some wood. James, oh, does not miss by much.
All right.
So it needs a pin to tie AJ for a 9 through the first 5.
4 triangles.
Let's see which way Dan goes with this one.
The name. If you hit the 4,
I wasn't going to say anything.
hit it full.
Hope for some
Hit it full, there's a lot
action.
of
He
spin,
spins
but
it right
it's
to
ball-
left. He's looking to probably
ball
clip
went
the
left,
corner of it.
And the pin went left.
Just
and
misses.
Nothing. Took out the 8 pin.
And a 9, so we're dead even at 47 apiece
Pair of 9.
on the right-hand side of your screen. Of course, John is also 47. If Dan had somehow connected for a 10 box, everyone would have been at 47. You guys like 47, huh?
It's a little ahead of his rhythm on that one.
So we have 3 47s and a 45 on the board. So
Well, sort of nice working with the 7.
we're halfway done from Ryan's
He hit the triangle on the
Hit
left that he was
Millis.
aiming for a minute ago.
B match and a D match.
He pounds the
This string is
both bowlers with spares.
a close one, either tied or within 2 pins. John goes right through the head pin.
Triangle and the 10 remaining. And he hit it full and bounced the wood off the left wire, came back and took out.
For John and Dan. Dan's averaging, with his slump a little bit of late, it's down to 95.7. We know he's a better bowler than that.
Good job on his triangle.
We all have our slumps here or there, but he's off to a really good start today with 2 games over 100, including the 115 in the first.
Okay, 9 on
John
the field.
averaging 98.37.
Tough.
AJ
Found the bullseye, got 4 points there. Parkinson. Wade covering wood. No need to hit the top.
John took
All
a
the way
5
that
bucks
way
there.
was it. Poked it in
AJ with 7.
the face. Just takes 2
Middle of the third, string of 5. John just punched out through the head pin. Now
Good
he's
9
punched
on
through
spread
the
eagle.
2 pin.
Warfield, he's at 32. Just
Not a half Worcester. AJ punches right through the head pin and leaves the spread eagle.
down. Justin at 48 the ball. Micah at 45.
John connects on the 1-3 pocket. Everything goes but the 7.
Okay. Good outcome from Duncan on the head.
AJ, hey, that's an opportunity for it to go. There was some wood moving around. It's a great shot. John in his
No.
construction
Good bid.
yellow,
Little thin.
bright yellow
But try to use
shirt, ACST
the
shirt
wood
today.
adjacent.
AJ with a
Sweep left.
great shot for a 10. When you get a 10 out of a spread eagle,
A little deeper, he poked it in the
that's a pro 10.
face.
John 62 through 7.
13 over. 2 4.
Dearly love to put a mark on the board.
1 over.
Same with AJ, 64, and again, this time it's even worse. My humble opinion, that's the worst leave in bowling. You hit the head pin, you hit the object,
That's just
only get 2.
1-2-5 now. And a
John
second spread eagle. This one.
Gets the 2 on the right. Let's see what AJ can do. Some work to be done there.
Looper.
That's a good 10 for John. Solid.
Parkinson needs 3 on the left.
AJ, oh. Cuts it, pin
And
flies
Duncan
right between the left
punches
side
the
pins.
1-3.
Dental floss
50 half.
teeth.
And a 61.
And a 6 box
Duncan
for all that
will lead the
hard
night
work.
field.
All right, right back at it here in the ninth.
16.
John,
Fair.
this time, the second strike of the string.
45.
AJ just off to the right, only gets 3.
Justin and
No
Micah
love
had
off to the
a spare in
sidewalls
the
that
fifth.
time. That was a huge spare by John, a huge strike by John.
They're parallel. They're mirror delivery. He slides the towel. Takes time. Clean his ball.
AJ has made some nice 10 boxes. Makes another one right there. 80 through 9 though. Really, really needs a mark. Love to have a mark
Swings back and like that.
in the 10th. John, of course, disappointing 3 on his last strike.
Beautiful. Another 9
He's
drop.
looking for a lot better than that.
On the road for the
Well, he's got a little work to do. AJ right on it, 3 and 1.
identical lead. That wood behind this one is what I was referring to. Micah just 2 on the fill.
6
It's a big ball for John. It's a good fill,
Micah finds that
considering
little
where he was
spot.
at. AJ
A 1/10 of an inch or a
off to the
quarter
left. So a final ball here for both bowlers here in the third.
inch on the head pin. You
John
want that
at
spot
98
on the
plus
outside.
0 is still 98. AJ with the 7 for 87.
4 pins. That's the way we try to
So
comment
Dan
on
knows he needs at least to get 1 mark anyway.
going on the inside.
James needs 40, so nothing's a given here in Candlepin bowling.
Split. You're throwing on the pin side, and on the outside is where is the hole. You want to hit in the hole, thin but not too thin. Like about a little bit too thin that one. Weird 5 fill for water. 72.
So here we go.
Down over. Micah is at 5 over. To the mysteries in the second box. Oh! Nothing wrong.
Dan right in the head pin. That could be a strike. It is. That was huge. Needed a mark, and it's always nice to get it right off the bat.
Clear like split.
You don't want to
It
have to
sends
wait
a
till the 10th box.
helicopter. For some reason, it chooses to come back to the edge of the plate instead of going back into the 9 pin. Waters takes 8 in the 7th, 8.
James for his spare. Oh, just nudges the head pin.
Which is
So it's an object hit, but need a little bit more full to pick that one up. And a 9 for James. So even if he got all 9s without a mark, he'd still take the string. He just wants to avoid any really bad boxes. Dan, a really good fill here will put him in good position for this 3rd string. He's got 5 in a ball.
Micah.
James right at it. 9 and a wiggling 7 pin that is not going to go.
That's a 14. Oh no.
Dan off to the right. So just a 6.
2 pinners only go about 51% of the time. It's weird.
Look at that. James right on it.
Large sample.
Big ball here for Dan.
Pretty sample.
Both John and Dan got strikes. John had a 3 on one of his. Dan just a 6 on the strike, 6 in the box. So suddenly Dan still needs another mark. 67 through 7, going up to 98. So he needs 32 to win the string in 3.
1 ball 10.
And he'll have the triangle. No, he'll have a 2
9
pinner.
for Waters, 10 for
No, he'll have a single pinner. Or will he get a strike?
74. 600 is Bob.
Speaking of strikes,
And a spare, but a
James connects with a big one there.
And the 10 was the last ball on that strike.
This is a huge pin right here in this match. Dan, will he get it on the wood? No, the wood was a little bit too far back. Of course, he was aiming for the pin.
Strike in the net.
Hooked it
Now,
just a bit.
Mike is going to take aim at the wood. choose his position.
And to the left.
Look at all, you hit it pretty low on that. And so it should
Dan
ricochet
at
into
76.
7 pin, or
Needs 23 and 2 to take
Put it on the ribbon.
third string.
I guess the wood was well out in front of the 9 pin. It wasn't connected, that's for sure. I don't know if everybody else was, but I was surprised that one
Dan
didn't go.
off to the right. That wood can help though. If
I thought
pocket
the
hit
issue
James
would
on
be
the
the
strike. Bidding for 2 in a row.
Not the 8
We're not done yet. Oh, it doesn't go. James has officially won string number 3. Let's see what Dan, if he gets this one.
Water is
Oh, man. So it's going to come down to the final box.
Micah in a run of
Between Dan
3
and
splits
John.
in a row. Connects.
And James off to the right.
That's his first strike of the match.
9 for
Man,
Dan, giving
Walker
him 85.
Finds the right spot.
Needs a mark plus a 4 fill to win.
That's what
String 3. James has already secured the third string for him. He's at 104,
nice piece of wood right around the back.
courtesy of a strike and a spare this string.
That's a spare strike. And he has himself a 109. 19 over.
Dan off to the left. Half Worcester, never a good time for that, especially in the 10th box.
26.
James. Spread eagle.
Good
But at least
rescue
he's
at the
already,
end.
for his sake, taken the third game here, so no harm, no
Micah.
foul. Dan gonna give it a run. Throws a great ball, just leaves the 7 and 10. But that means John will
98.
breathe a sigh of relief, take the third
Hey,
string.
good.
Dan
Be a 10 fill.
gonna send that wood across, that will be a 9.
Counted as 3 marks, but 103.
And
Duncan
Dan
at
with the
11 over.
94.
Just needs to pin well.
John takes it 98-94. James over AJ 110 to 87.
Micah
So for a grand total so far,
his way into the wild
John
card.
has taken 2 out of 3 strings, so that gives him 4 points. Dan still maintains the total lead, virtue of his 24 point, 24 pin win in the first game. So John's won the next 2, has nudged that 24 down to 4. So Dan still leads by 4. AJ and James. James at 346 to 301. So James is up his lead to 45 points, but still 2 big strings to go.
Speed in it. Speed. Did you notice the speed?
No, probably the same as usual. Just it's the
You
release.
vary by 2 miles an hour.
Well, the lanes do too.
All right.
Started string number 4.
126 to 59.
I mean, I'm probably throwing 33.
27.
Wow.
AJ.
Duncan
Probably throw
protected
33
his
to
lead
50.
to the 9 rolls.
Wow.
He remains 10 over. Needs to
That was the ball that usually takes that leave.
still 6 pin standing. 4 boxes. Spare for Parkinson. And a beautiful pickup that. Puts Duncan
John off his target, gets 1.
in command.
AJ for the 10.
Parkinson's gonna need, as we said, 27 tilt. 27 bonus tilt. 3 or 4 marks.
And John with the 10 as well. 4th string.
And 6 of them.
This is Dave Peterson.
21 more.
Thank you for joining us
Okay.
for this doubleheader.
Duncan, well in command, but he wanted to.
Boy, we've seen our fair share of half Worcesters, spread eagles, and the like so far. So far today,
29.
John almost throws a half Worcester himself. Does get 4.
They'll put 14 pins in the
AJ with a good ball. Let's see. That wood is still moving.
8 Parkinson.
2 pieces, not enough to take it.
And really
John,
tough, ugly looking.
pretty,
Oh, that's
yes,
it's
a pretty
beautiful,
spare.
Symmetric.
And another 10 for AJ.
Back to
Perfect through 2.
Four standing, so it's like getting a couple of 10s. But that's all he needs.
John's actually perfect through 2 as well with a 10 and a spare.
Especially with that 9 drop. Setback for
I need a break like that.
little angle.
I still missed the
Off the tip, he got it just the way you wanted it. The
Yeah.
10 pin stands.
4 horsemen, that wood in the back.
A lot of
Is in
action.
play
Oh,
here.
I thought you might find the one piece of wood.
Could help him. It's behind John and his fill
Throws a
ball.
hammer ball if they hit the 10 pin.
Off to the left. Pick 3.
Anywhere but right gutter.
Got enough
It's
room to
looking
make
like
it
2,
happen.
so the third's actually kind of a bonus pin, I'd say. AJ just off center. Any backdoor action?
34.
Enough to wiggle it, but not knock it over. John to the right, leaves the 1 and 2. Both bowlers
First ball.
open. AJ remains perfect. Third straight 10.
And that finishes the match. Now at 109.
And John remains perfect himself. So
Gained 6 pins plus whatever he
both of our bowlers here have not left a pin up here in string number 4 through 3
Yeah,
boxes.
he's got it. That was his 4th spare.
AJ off to the right, gets all the pins, plays out the right side. John, half Worcester left.
Not me.
AJ off to the right.
He takes the lead in total with that 17.
John,
When
well,
that- when that's been like
that's the full Worcester.
23,
Half on each
but
side.
I-
AJ,
Gotta look at that score.
It's a great out ball.
Okay, 7-0
John
red
is
streak.
gonna
That
have
was a
to
126 to 103.
try to do something similar. Throws a good ball. Not much you can do about that. $6 it is.
126 from both Duncan and
So
Justin.
AJ and John each have 39 here as we enter the 5th box. Of course, you remember pretty much 3 out of the bowlers had 47 to close out the first half of the last game. So without a mark, they could be right about that again. AJ had the half Worcester, unfortunately. John off the head pin and get some decent action.
Two different splits. Micah wants to go right side.
John surveyed
Oh, never
his
mind. It's the left
shot
side.
here.
How do I buy?
Connect in the pocket, that wood behind
wood
could
could come across.
swivel around.
And Waters connects as well.
Well, he needs a lot of action. Gets some, but not enough.
As well. Thank you.
AJ, boy, some great outs today. A tremendous out. Just leaves 1 pin on the deck,
in his-
but no marks.
he's in his
49, considering no
final
marks, is
match.
pretty darn good. John would have gotten 49 if he had gotten that one, but he gets 48.
6th place, second in the wild card. Micah still has a match with Kelly. He fills with 2.
James and Dan
Waters
step
fills
up here.
with a strike on spare.
Start their 4th string, knowing that anything, any marks could put them up to start the second half.
We would say it's on the inside.
AJ with 4 10s and a 9. John did have a mark,
What do you think?
but had a 6 box on that
It's a safer bet.
tough full Worcester
Throw
lead.
it down the hole. But they do go a
James?
little better. So for second ball, a lot of that should be
Could have an entertaining shot here.
second ball. It's good to throw on the inside.
He's had
with
a
the
really, really nice spares. This could be another one if this goes.
Split the difference and throw a
Oh
full ball.
man, everything but the 7.
Aim for a full ball. You're going to miss them. Plus or minus 2 or 3 inches.
Dan gets a lot of action considering where he threw the ball.
headpin at 1
James right on it. And Dan throws a good ball. That's a great 10 box. It's a great pinning here. James a little full. Dan right in the hit pin again. Spread eagle.
Making some adjustments to his ball.
Let's see what James does. This could add to his pretty spare. I think he's going left. It's a cap. May have been aiming a little bit more to the left. Dan looking to somehow convert that a 1%er. It's the object. And a 9 for James. He's at 19. Dan
Micah
gets 2. Nope.
again.
Falls into the pit for hitting a 7. That's an 8. 18 through 2.
His second stick, 3 and 4 on the head. Stays left.
We've certainly seen our fair share of half Worcesters. It continues. Dan off to the left, gets some really good action. They're all in a bunch. James, all but one.
Finish everything. Oh, beautiful that ball.
Boy, this is a spare opportunity for Dan. Even if he hit the wood, it might have gone, but slipped off to the right.
56.
And James, 10 out of the half Worcester is a darn good box.
2 marks.
So he's gotten it. 2 10s and a 9 for 29. And there's Dan. Let's see. It's the cap, just gets 7 on that. So it's 25 through 3.
He leads all goals down. Micah has 2.
James a bit full, getting some late action.
66 and 2 balls.
Dan off to the left.
Now, Micah.
So James with his right to left ball and spin. If he can hit that in the right spot, the ball might go over and trip at the 7. Let's see.
Wondered whether the double chaos ball might have.
Not only does the 7 not go, the 10 doesn't go either. Dan bidding for a spare. Looking for some action, gets some, but leaving a triangle on the left.
2 of 5 on the head pin for Micah.
James with an 8, 37 through 4. So AJ would have the lead after 5 if James is unable to mark. Dan connects on the triangle off the wall. Nicely done. 35 through 4. He would need a spare to overtake John, or a strike, of course.
332. They're in the lead by 9.
James off to the right.
The first 3.
That'll be a tough one, but doable.
Slow motion spare.
And Dan off to the left.
A little bit of mousetrap action.
Almost a
there.
similar shot to before.
One thing flipped over another thing, caused another thing to trip. And I believe the 5 was the last to fall on that check mark.
This would be a pretty one if Dan can connect.
That's Parkinson.
Pocket.
He shaved his eyes.
Dan's getting
but
is a good amount of backdoor action, just in this frame and the previous one. That's a 10 for James. 47. That seems to be a popular number here.
bad luck, and
AJ with 49. John with 48.
makes the world seem very
Dan with 45. So
Duncan crosses over. Now there's no shame in that one.
here we go. Here it could be the first Mark takes it
Match, but
in each of their matches. John by 3 over Dan. AJ by 2 over James.
played the wood between the, I believe that was 4 and 10.
Dan holds total pinfall so far a 1-pin lead over John. That's how close this is. My oh my. Punch outs continue. AJ. Not punch out. I don't think AJ wanted that one to go down.
Loops it out,
Still
gets it back to cover.
Could be sliced across though.
A little thin. Five back though.
John right down the middle. This could be pretty here. Take a look. Oh, that's where it was. You would thought to hit it there. It was just the wood was not angled perfectly.
31 through 2.
Really good ball. John off to the right. We've got a 6 out of the spread eagle. Spread eagle claims another victim. And AJ with the solid 10. AJ looking to pick up 2 points here. James has taken the first 3.
A pair of 8s there.
But still 2 points here and 2 points in the next string are at stake.
39 through 3. 28.
John off to the left. Just gets 2.
66 and 2 ball.
AJ. There's the 4 horsemen on the right.
He was still falling for Marcus.
There's John. That was a really good ball.
1, 2 remain. Dougal with a similar.
I think we've seen the 4 horsemen made yet today. It had some great chances at it and some right balls right in the pocket.
One of the biggest differences in this country.
It's been the 7 to 10 that hasn't gone. John hoping to get 2 out of this. That's what he does for 9 boxes, 63 through 7. There we go.
10 for McDougal.
So 4 horsemen can go. That time for a 10 box for AJ, 69 through 7. AJ was open last string and so far this string. So some really good pinning. Only leaving 1 pin on the deck here in the 4th string. Definitely needs a mark. John's been getting more strikes than spares here.
Good action on head. Just as many splits as any.
And AJ, oh, just like before. Almost very similar leave. The 3-pin falls.
Oh, there's a strike on his spare from Parkinson.
Same shot, different wood for AJ. John off to the right. Here's an interesting one. Let's see.
Waters with the 66 to 58 advantage. Both
This time AJ connects.
strikes hanging. Duncan
The
leaves
same
Potter
shot,
hanging and
2 in a row. This time the wood comes into play and helps.
2-pin lead plus a ball.
I think it was 2 in a row. And John with the triangle, and that nudges over. It's a big. It's a 10 box and 73 through 8 for John. Definitely wants to put a mark on the board.
And the pitch. On the double strike. The 5 was the last to fall for Waters. That one had a little extra juice. Registers at 37.
Looking for a spare or a strike. He wants that wood to stay in there and it disappears.
What is 34?
AJ on the mark. All right. Get 6.
Micah commented it takes just misses to spare. On a weird, a 5-pin configuration.
Not to be for John. AJ
Through his,
almost on the back door.
It's too good. All right.
And that will be a 9 box for John. And for AJ, 10. Good job. So John at 82. Of course, he had a 3-pin lead after 5 boxes, so
Huge, but that's
he's yet to mark. So
the difference between that and a strike. Not
behooves
much.
him to mark here in the 10th. He hooks that one right.
not registered.
Gets the
but,
10 pin that he just had 2 cracks at.
shuts off at 38 possible 38.
AJ.
Just a misread.
All right, we got a chance here with 3 and a piece of wood that
28
looked better
and
before, but
almost on
that
the
could still come into play behind the scenes.
So that would be a
I'd love to add
19,
one more mark.
So
James
84,
John
103.
giving this a great try. Not going to happen for a spare.
113.
Off to the right.
3 over.
So final ball here for John. He's at 90 plus 1. That's a 92 for John. Just got the 1 spare this string.
Micah.
AJ's had some good third balls and a solid string.
Pretty
Just the 1 mark, but that
Eventually
could be
he
key.
clinched.
It's a 104 with 1 spare.
Other than the hanger ball.
So Dan's at 45. Doesn't need to mark, but need to have awfully good pinning.
109, Micah did.
It's 47 to take
The 83 Duncan
the string, which would be his 2nd string.
punched back to the 126, 103.
AJ up 57 over James.
59 in the ball.
So need
13 in
1 at least. More likely 2.
Waters meanwhile has a spare. Looking at 130 average now.
Dan going after the pack of 6, just picks off the 7. James
That was a 10. 71.
runs him down.
Dropped by 18 plus the ball.
Big spare for James here to open the 2nd half of the 4th string. Big ball here for Dan.
Number 3.
That is a really good out at 9.
How about a 9 for Bill? To go to 52 over.
Dan looking for his first mark of the 4th string. Takes
And
2
another
on the
spare.
left. James on his
52
very
and
important
counting.
fill ball right here.
Go 1 more box for
Well, off the head pin, but a nice break getting 7. Giving him
Right.
64.
Wanted to hit the side
Need
of that
at
one.
least
Got
one more to
punched in
take the
face,
string.
though. Setback. If you have bowlers have decided.
And the ball zigzags. It just doesn't pick up the 8 pin.
Put that wood out in the plate or in front of the 4-7 or the 6-10. Those setbacks will almost
Dan with
never
his zigs and zags across
The wood
for
that
a
works.
Big 10.
The wood
So
that
good pinning can
covers
still get the
both
job
the
done here for
4
Dan.
and 5 or
With
the
3 to
5
go.
and 6.
James with a 9.
And there's an anger ball.
Hey, how about that one?
Strike in the
James at
10th
73.
again.
AJ had a 104, so 31 and 3 means James needs a mark in the final 3.
Okay, 7 on the fill.
Dan
Go to
not in the same position. He needs 28 and 3 to take it. And that's a good start.
Crosby open this formula 129.
James again on the 2 pin.
158. Still working on his form. A 158, and that is 6.
Oh, almost on the back door. It doesn't
32.
go. It's still wiggling.
Waters.
James
532.
off the 3.
532.
That's a 9 box. Every pin critical here for each bowler.
532.
Big 10 for James. Still need a mark. 83 for James. 8.
Okay, that's a
Dan
9
needs
and
19 and 2.
almost another spare on strike to finish things up. 99. Straight with a 19 box
to the
and a
right.
20 box in the last two strings. Micah, after clinching, just sort of got a 103 and a 99.
James also off to the right.
So Micah,
Down 21 with 2 to play. Missed the
He's
fourth
at
string.
31. He's at 4th.
Dan off to the right.
4:31.
Big ball coming up. James, oh, hits it in the pocket. The wood flies off the wall but does not connect with any of the pins in the back. So these strings are going to come down
Duncan goes spare.
to the last box. Disappointing 3 for Dan.
Cross out. That's the
James
1-8.
with a 9. All right, let's set the scene here.
After a 9-fill.
John rolled a 91. Dan with that 3 box at 76.
Yeah, 67.5. Just needs a 90.
Now needs a mark. James down 12, 104.92. He needs a mark.
89.
Strikes or spares, they'll take whatever.
And a strike. I didn't even watch it. Just threw a perfect ball and looked away.
James,
Oh, buddy. I got turf toe going on big time.
then I have a 2
Right,
and 1
here's
split.
another 189.
Dan has a shot at it though. Can he run him
I'm
down?
like nervous.
Field goal. Like he's practicing
Dan
on these.
off to the right.
He got it. I don't know if he was aiming for it, but the wood adjacent to the head pin.
James cuts it across. It's wiggling, and it is not gonna go.
On the object
He
play.
cut it too much. Can you believe it? It's still wiggling.
Good pick.
And AJ will get 2 points, a big 2. Dan with the 9. John survives, winning his 3rd string. James with a 10.
And a
AJ takes it 104-102. John not in a high-scoring match, but 91-85 is
coiling
went right down to the
coiling
end.
around the legs of that 10.
Holy smokes! John has now managed to win strings by, let's see, the last 2 he won by 4. This one by, they goofed up on the scoreboard, by 6. He now has the overall lead by 2 pins.
Well, it didn't register, so. Duncan.
AJ taking that one, 104-102. Great bid by James in the 10th box.
Looking at 104. Parkinson
104.
105.
AJ, oh, excuse me. Writing down the scores here. Dan, 85.
Keep up with
John
Waters is
with the 91.
58.
So 43
Waters is string he had
pin difference in the AJ James match.
right?
2 pins between
9 double strike.
John and Dan.
Spare
No
9,
break in the action.
7,
We've started the 5th string.
39.
So everyone's going home with something today.
10 for Waters, but the rest is perfect.
James leads 6 points to 2 over AJ. John 6 to 2 over Dan. James with a pretty decent lead, not insurmountable, but
String
4 points at stake there. And in the Dan-John match, obviously 2 for the string and 4 for total, right up for grabs. So, especially for John in the playoff hunt. You're looking at a 6-point string right here.
14.
AJ and James, 2 big points. AJ would love to have a huge string here.
20 plus the ball. Take a
AJ opened
121.
at 7, John with 8.
Parkinson to the 125. Certainly respectable, but not enough to keep
Both bowlers
pace.
punching through the 2 or the 3. Tough opportunities here. Oh, just missed.
Parkinson had 448.
It's John trying for his, and what was an ugly shot is even uglier now.
Stockton and Waters taking the first 4 strings there. Duncan and Micah, two
John
games
had a
apiece,
similar
but
shot at this
last
earlier
one,
when he
Duncan picked up
punched out the
22.
half
He's gonna
Worcesters
be-
on each side. Similar shot, similar result.
gonna be an up
Could have gone for the 2.
31 pin
That was a
lead.
decision. Go for the hit pin and hope for some magic. No luck. So 13 through 2 for John. AJ also at 13.
Both Duncan and Micah have now clinched wild position. Waters in a battle into
hit, but not a good head pin lead for AJ. John gets a boatload of luck there. Typically, you'd see the three on the end go, but a lot of action working their way, a lot of pins working their way back to the head pin. And look at that. 3 pieces of wood lined up. Not a gimme.
Spare.
They're all caps, but just, oh, the ball ends up taking the 7. Wow. Spare for John, 8 for AJ. Huge spare for John. But it wasn't the wood that took it, I believe. I think the ball ended up taking that after all. AJ off to the right, leaving Caleri with the 9 pin being the one on the back.
34.6 on that pitch.
John and his fill ball. Big 8 pin drop.
Speedometer lane 20. Oh! Is the one who's registering the higher speed. May not be, I think the ball.
John for a spare, gonna leave it out to the left.
The water's through at the end of that gate.
AJ
It's 150.
picks off the 1 in the back for an 8 box. So 21 plus 8 is 29 for AJ through 4.
All right, 19 through 2 of Micah takes a 10.
John just gets 1 out of the 2, although he hits the object pin. He's on par at 40 through 4. James looking for a big box to sit on here and Mark to sit on. All right, we're not done yet, I don't think, are we? Oh goodness. Oh,
Beautiful way to do it.
that was not a good break. Obviously had the 1 and 3. That pin, we've got the leaning tower of Pisa for a 3 pin. No wood to work with. Let's see if John has any luck with the 4 horsemen. Could have had some backdoor action there, perhaps, but didn't hit the object.
They feel faster than you can.
That's a 9 for AJ. 38 half.
What their arm is doing it. That's not possible.
John with the 9, 49 through 5.
Micah takes the strike.
The scoreboard, we got everything right?
Well, that one.
That's right.
Wait till the 10th,
Piece of wood in
10th box for that one.
the channel being moved down.
I believe that's his fourth. Might be adding a scoreboard
James
later
and Dan will prepare for the to start the 5th and final string for them.
Waters takes it. I like that approach. I like the aim when you have that 2-pinner and try to hit it thin and
Here's
straight
James
across.
right on the head pin, check mark
Not
with
always
the piece of
the,
wood that just moved
for thinning.
slightly, was angled right, when it bumped into the pin and changed the angle. Let's see how James
Either
plays
way,
this.
just as easily. So you just take aim at that.
The cap tripped it up, all but the 10.
And you're going to miss it left and right a little bit.
Dan hooks it, gets 3 out of it.
Off the wall. The 2-pinners sometimes will send a lot of action back.
And James with the 9
Tries
box.
2, 9 on the
Dan
first ball for Micah.
has a friendly piece of wood to the right. There's a bailout. Whoa, he bounces it,
Waters wasn't successful, but you saw
and it went
back
a little
and
further
forth.
right than he had hoped. So that'll be an 8 for Dan.
49 through 4 for Waters. And it's a spare on strike and sit down. And Micah will at 59 in the ball. And
James hits the hit pin. Dan also,
10 had a protective seal around it there.
unfortunately for Dan, he's got 3 pins on the right
Still done.
that James doesn't have. Let's see if James can run it down.
For Waters, just threw a 150.
It would help. Oh, wow.
You can Gallagher yourself in the
Dan just punches through it for one. Well, you know, with all the bad breaks we've seen today, the bowlers deserve some good lucky breaks. And James
It's like me,
did get one there. You saw him smiling.
Okay, Duncan trying to
That's a
win the
7 bucks
match
for
here.
Dan.
Certainly look to win
It's
this
15
game.
through 2.
Had 4 goals.
John had a 49.
Chris Parkinson throws the best ball no one ever sees.
Dan technically didn't need a mark, but he does now
Almost
have
got
the
it.
lead after the fifth frame.
Everything.
Just a 3 fill for James.
On that
3
odd
still
lead,
is 13
Tennis
bucks.
square, we have 2 times.
Second,
7, 8, 10.
HA had 38, so James bidding for another spare, and he gets it. This time he hits it exactly where he was aiming, and it went.
Duncan should have waved that one off.
Always nice to get the ones that you hit perfectly, and they actually go. Dan with an 8.
Hung on his hand too long. It
Got
connected.
another ball, right? Yeah.
It's a 9. Better ball out in front. You want that ball to land past the foul line? You can.
And Dan,
Nine
there
on
it
the
goes.
field,
It's a 9
Parkinson.
bucks. So 24
Press
through
out,
3.
couple hit points in these matches.
James off to a roaring start here in the
That's
5th.
the guy.
Oh!
Almost.
you had it.
Duncan. Parkinson finds the wood and
And while he's off the head pin, that's a 7-pin fill. Oh, goodness.
yeah, 9. Duncan 18.
And, excuse me, James was bidding for 3 in a row there. Hits the
9 drop.
hits the object pin
Spare 9.
just a bit too full. And Dan's had practice at this, unfortunately.
And a 10 for Chris. He's at 29.
9 for James. That will give him 48 through 4. Already has a 10-pin lead
Good
over
hit.
James,
9 drop.
over AJ, and AJ's completed. So it's actually 19 and completed
58.
frames.
That was
James
the one.
ended up with 38.
They were looking
Hopefully
for
I'm
that
not
kick
confusing
into the
you
wall.
with that
Parkinson
description.
with the spare. He's thrown 3
Dan got an
straight
8 for
9
32.
drops.
Anyway, James on the Brooklyn side.
Duncan
He had a
throws
piece of wood that was heading for those pins that are still standing, but it got sideswiped by another pin and stopped in its tracks. So leaves the triangle on the right.
at 39 the ball. Duncan.
Dan will have an interesting shot. James just off the right. It'll have a decent sized lead here, not
Okay, 2
insurmountable.
on that fill.
AJ will have some work to do. Dan off to the left. Gets 1. So John will have the lead here in the at the halfway point of the 5th string.
Probably has
James finishes with 58, AJ at 38.
49.
The first half. Dan with a 9 gives him 41 against John's 49. So we're, as they say in Kentucky Derby, we're heading down the home stretch.
7 to tie.
Round in the final turn. John up and AJ up for their final 5.
Dougal with the spare.
John up 8 in the string, up 10 in the match.
There.
6 critical points at stake for him. Dan trying to play spoiler here. AJ looking for a huge second half.
Parkinson with
Has an
another
8-pin
strike
drop to
ball.
start with.
Watching Duncan going.
James led by
Chooses to
43
play the pins.
of this string.
Stays off that nice
John.
looking wood, but it was
Right
double.
on the object, a little bit too full.
So that's a
AJ
55
connects
ball
for the
trails by
2-pinner for a
4.
very nice spare.
Both Micah and Duncan on a ball. Parkinson with a 3-pin lead plus 2 balls. So trying to break the
John.
block.
Loses that to the left
Shutout.
for an 8-box.
Waters back back on the right side of the head pin. Leaves the 5, 8,
John in the 7th. It's going to hit the head pin. Leaves a 2-pinner. AJ on the fill ball. All right, this time gets a little bit of a break with that pin in the back being tripped up instead of the check mark.
5 and the 8. I don't know.
Just says the 247.
You hit it in the face of the wood.
John
Pins went
just
left,
plucks
but
off the 10. Big one here for AJ, trying to make a comeback here in the 5th straight. Held on to it a bit too long, so it went right.
No connection, double wood. Waters hit him. Looked like he hit it where he wanted to.
And John off to the left.
No.
And of course, the second time around,
Double wood looked like it would
so much
easily
easier than the
take
first.
7 and give him a chance at a hop back on the
10 for AJ
Neither happens.
at 65. John
14
66.
Duncan at 5 over plus the ball. Close in that one. Duncan leading by 31 points coming to the 5th straight.
John
Okay.
on the crossover leaves the diamond.
1-5. Now we've got a full straight eagle.
AJ not on the crossover. Pretty full 2-pinner. See where that wood ends up. It's not going over there, so a clear shot. John looking for a full hit on this. Usually you need to do it. That wood's not going to help though.
Seemed like a little extra juice there too. 36 points.
And AJ off to the right.
And Micah connects. All right. He's still got a chance at that total here.
And John off to the right as well. Let's see if
Takes
AJ
care
can
of
get
9.
anything here. Just one.
He's at 76, 6-0.
So it gives John 72.
He has now crossed the
AJ 74.
600 barrier. He's,
2 boxes to go for them.
68.
Here on a Saturday in
Now at
Millis.
608.
ACST winding down the regular season.
Oh, another.
If this year's playoffs are anything like last year's, you've got to stay tuned to the ACST Facebook page.
3 spread eagle. Different barrier.
All right, we've got 2 interesting spare leaves here. John with the piece of wood in the back, if he can hit the head. Pin. See, it goes down like
How about that? He
dominoes.
got one! Hey, there you go. That was the
AJ,
spread
that
eagle.
wood red line might
Minus
do it.
tail feather at 7.
And it does. 2 good spares by each bowler.
Our numbers?
Well, 1 good spare by each bowler, right? Well, it's 2 spares total. Put it that way.
Over time. Now well up at
Last box.
600. And they're hanging around 1.5%. It's getting dangerously
Fill
close
ball
to
for
2%.
John. Right in the pocket.
We're in a
Leaving
dry spot.
5 and 7. Ugh. AJ fill ball looking for a big one. In gets it.
It's a sample. Once CBA is in place, and if we can get
Big
the
marks for
numbers,
both
the,
bowlers.
leaves characterized as a possibility that we could have stats for all spare leaves at different levels of bowling.
John
Hey,
is at
how about
90 through
that?
9.
Strike number 2 here in string 5 for Micah.
Hoping for 1 for 99. Oh, goodness. Well,
Looking at possible claim.
how about 2 for 100?
Beat Duncan by 31.
The
at
left-hander.
least to tie him.
Goes from right to left. So, a big
James
spare
James 2 and
8, though. Here's AJ on a strike. Would dearly love a
8-6
double.
victory with the top.
If not, as high a fill as possible.
That was in the channel. 7 on the fill though for Peterson.
Important ball here.
On his 3rd 2-1 split. Go with 3 spread eagles.
104 plus the fill. Hoping for more. Got 2. So that's a 7 fill for a 111. Big finish for AJ. So if nothing else, forcing James to at least mark once. Dan needs
Okay, he finds the head
59
and
to
doesn't
tie,
get
60 to win. So we're It's going to be needing a couple marks. Definitely doable.
Thank you for that lead. Waters connects.
Here comes Dan.
They just still has a
Hit,
chance
hit,
to
hit.
get a
Looking for
shutout.
one of those to trip, and it does.
Hawkinson sitting at 61 in the ball.
James, strike. Ball
Micah
comes right
Bears on the strike.
up on the lanes after
A
few-minute break.
chance
no problem.
of winning his match against the Ducks. I think
And Dan,
led by 30
oh, I
again.
thought he had that one. I thought it moved, it looked like it was hitting right for the pin, but a little right to left action.
And the 8 on the fill at a 120.
That's the one he was looking for. 10 bucks for Dan.
652. You got his 650. 7 on the field for Micah and a 135. So
Dan on the 7th.
that was a 566 for Micah.
James on a strike. That's another ball.
Marks it on the strike. Pick 7 with the first one. Now the 6 triangle.
Dan, spare leave.
Duncan's job to win the
At
match.
least it was possible. James with a check mark. Hits the object. Just gets 2 out of the 4, but still an 8 fill. So 76 plus
5.
whatever he gets here.
The 105.
Dan with the 6 box. So Dan's going to need to mark a couple times anyway, at least.
135.
James,
Tie.
big 10 there.
Okay.
Just needs 26, so needs good pitching.
12 over. So he's well on his way. But
3 boxes to
throws
do
a
it.
few more 7s like that, and he's going to be.
Dan's got to get 43 and 3 to tie. Off to the right once
Okay,
again.
helpful work on the ball. Hit the 3 pin. Everything but the 1 in 10 fell.
Of course, Dan and John, the string is so close that there's another 4 points at stake. James has taken total. Throws a really good ball, but does not get rewarded there.
He's going to need a spare and a 7 to tie. Get more 10.
So we know James will get at least 10. It'll be 12. That 9 helps.
Blasts the head
95
and
through 8.
gets a setback.
Needs 17 to win string 5. Dan needs 2 marks.
Double wood.
36 to tie.
5.
Off to the right.
Plays it in the middle. He gets it, and it doesn't go. He hit it just where he wanted to on a connection between the 2 pieces. Sent a lot
That
of
will
wood flying.
do that.
Nothing. Hits
James with 2 strikes on the back end in the 6th box and here in the 9th. So James Hughes in a critical match here for playoff, with playoff implications with AJ.
Oh, no, he just needs an 8 with that. He just needs an 8 with that. He's at 102. He needs to get to 190.
We'll take 12 over 2. This is a big ball for Dan. Gets 9 because at least that keeps his string in play, but Dan's going to at least now need a double with at least 7 to tie on top of it. Without that big fill there, even a triple wouldn't have got it. So.
And that's gonna yes, it
Ball
will.
here.
It goes, it turns around, and
He
the
needs a
wood
strike.
takes
I'm
the
sure he
set.
knows it.
Will be
For some reason, his ball's just been a little bit off to the right here on lane 22.
He's at 112.
John Ahearn with a big sigh of relief will take 12 points.
5 fill would win it. Even a 2 fill
Dan
with a
2 points.
7 or 8.
James going to add
Need a
another
couple
spare
pins.
on his strike. So a big finish for James.
A 3 fill. So that's 115.
Dan with an 8,
121 to
finishing
121.
with an 81. Started out like a house of fire with the 115 and the 101. John Ahearn
Game and a
take
spare for Duncan.
12.
Duncan
Here's
will
James finishing out his
win the
match.
Micah will win
On
string
his
5.
spare ball, that's a 5, so that's a
gonna be
130 game for James Humes
8 to 6. Duncan won
130
3 and 4.
against a 111. AJ made a valiant effort there to close out the fifth and final string. James was equal to the task. So just to recap,
120 victory for Chris Parkinson.
John Ahearn wins the final 4 strings and takes total for a total of 12 points. Dan took the first string, taking 2 points. Grand total, final total, if you're looking for this final score, John Ahearn was 497, Dan Castle 476, so really only a 21 pin difference. But good enough for 12 points for John, that's what counts. Dan Castle gets 2.
Victory by 11.
And tallying up the final score is James. He will take 12 points.
Micah Imparato and Candlepin.
AJ will take 2, virtue of winning the 4th string.
Saturday morning
So
matinee.
final score, when you tally up all 5 strings, James ends up at 578, AJ with 516, James with 12 points, AJ with 2. So that will do it for here. I'm Dave Peterson. Thank you for tuning in to ACST action from Ryan's and Millis.
That's good. No, that was I sorry I was late. I took a sleeping pill. It didn't work. Didn't get me to sleep.